Everybody else, let's just quickly talk about why we think that this concept is important to consider when you deploy any of your predictions. Historically, what you would do is you would take a view that the history is a true representation of the future. If history is a true representation, it means that you would use the classical machine learning process end to end. You will take your data, a frozen set, you'll put it through feature engineering, you'll add additional features, sometimes even time series features. You would train a model. If you are going to deal with a classification-based problem, you'll train a multi-class classifier, or you will train a regressor, or you will train a binomial. We'll have a couple of different ways in which you would train your models. And then what you would do is you would wrap some code around it and you would put that into production. What we found is that, yes, that works, it's great, it's fine, but in a new world, what you want to do is you want to have a no-code and a low-code platform that is permanently in production. So consider that the ability to use data when you need to, or have a cold start. So the concept is that if you use an interaction for something that you have never collected data for previously, an example is you're going to go new market, new customer, or you've got an existing product into a new market, or existing customer into a new product to sell a new product, you probably will not have a data point available to you based on historical evidence. That means that you need to have an approach to have an experimental view on how you're going to engage with those people, so that because you just don't know. You can postulate that, yes, my customers in previous product launches have behaved like this, or previous interactions have behaved in a certain way. But we found that in the era gone by, that was fine. And where we now, people want far more accurate and far more diverse engagements to know truly what that human on the other end is going to do when you do present them with some alternatives or some options that they need to respond to. So that means that the tooling that is needed for the scoring engine that stays in production permanently, the pulse client pulse responder, that is our real-time scoring engine. You have it in production permanently running, always up, connected to the database with all of its settings ready. You have the workbench where you'll be able to change some of the parameters and the behaviors of that scoring engine. And if anything goes wrong, you'll be able to just say, I want to go back to the previous one that I had, and it must be able to do that through a pipeline. So that means that we've got pipelines. We're not going to show it today or talk about it today. It's just, I guess, too much technical content. But the biggest benefit is that you can quickly check that you're actually making the right decisions and that your model can converge based on the criteria that you set without having to go through this lengthy data science cycle that normally comes with preparing these kinds of recommenders. Because historically, these recommenders are incredibly data heavy. Now we're thinking that as human preferences change and shift and you want to figure out new ways of engaging, you want to have far more dynamic capability. So that means that your end customer or your end user should feel far more enlightened because they know that the things are relevant to them now as the updates happen continuously. And as a data scientist or a person who's going to drive a campaign, that you can tweak any of the parameters to make sure that you can alter the behavior of what's in production without having to worry about a massive pipeline that has to run first for a day or a week or a month later for you to be able to get it to that. So that means that the benefits of recommendations, more accurate engagements, easier ways to engage with the data scientist, the compaction of the process, focusing on a true science to change your hypotheses and then to be able to launch a new one, for testing incredibly quickly. And for the technologist, the fact that when it's in production, that it's always tested, it is permanently ready because you know that it is there, it is something that you're already looking after, and you've got dashboards that track its performance from a real-time deployment point of view, and so on.